news, where we start with, oh, Warner Brothers in the news yet again. But normally we have them in movie section and in TV section. But here we have them in the video game section because the Warner Brothers platform fighting game, MultiVersus, is getting shut down officially on May 30th, according to a statement by developer Player First Games. The game, which was released last year on May 28th of 2024, allowed players to use various characters and IPs from Warner Brothers to platform fight against each other, a la Smash Brothers Melee and Brawl and stuff. The other Ultimate, I think they're on right now. But yeah, it'll last just over a year before it gets shut down. For players, this means that the online features will remain accessible until the end of the game's Season 5, which is currently going on, and that will end on May 30th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Any real money transactions for the game have ceased, but there's currently no words on any refunds for items that have already been purchased, including the $100 Founders Edition from last year. Players will still be able to play an offline version of the game, whether it be the solo mode or against AI, if they download the latest version of the game and log in before May 30th. According to CEO David Zaslav, quote, Q4 results were impacted by games for which we took another $100 million plus impairment due to the underperforming releases, primarily MultiVersus, this quarter, bringing total write-down year-to-date to over $300 million in our game businesses, the key factor in this year's studio profit decline. Close quote. And that right there is the whole reason it's getting shut down, is that Zaslav looked at the bottom line and said, it's not making enough money. It costs more to run the servers than it does to help more to run servers, more to pay developers than it does to keep this game going. So just here he comes, David Zaslav with his axe and cutting off MultiVersus just barely a year post-launch. As I mentioned, there are people who paid $100 for the Founders Edition, because this is technically the second release of MultiVersus. There was a beta released the previous year, 2023 at the end, for a couple of months before being taken offline and brought back in May of last year. And now, once again, it's being taken offline and being shuttered. Uh, I don't remember if there was any physical copies of this game, but this is just yet another kind of dagger in live service games of how people, yeah, you may have some people go out and spend money on this, but if there's no confidence that the game's going to be around for even a year later, players are less likely to spend money on it. You could take a look at mobile games like Pokemon Pocket Mobile and how they just keep releasing new content. And that's what was that? October. So we're what, 5 months out, almost 6 months into it. And people are spending money on it because they know that they have a lot more to offer, that the game will be around for more than a year. They're not just gonna shutter it down. And here, just out of the blue, gone. And yet another game fallen, just like Concord of last year. Although at least MultiVersus made it a year instead of Concord not making it a month. But again, as we follow our story of the year from last year, how do video games make money? And that's a big question as we continue. It's proving more and more correctly why we chose it as our story of the year. That if players and gamers can't trust that a live service game is going to be around, why spend more money into it than just the ticket of admission? Why spend on DLC if there's not going to be any future support for it? Why spend money on skins and cosmetics if it can all be taken away at a moment's notice? There's nothing worse. No, there's no worse feeling than spending money on something and you're not really buying anything, just the rights to own it, and you don't actually have any physical stake in it. So yeah, just another huge loss in the video game sphere.